Good evening. Welcome to the May 23rd, 2024 Foxborough Planning Board meeting. This meeting will be broadcast live and recorded by Foxborough Cable Access. There may also be people attending by Zoom. Any department updates, subdivisions, anything else?
Well, for the department update, our next meeting on June 13th, we will have our new Director of Land Use and Economic Development in place.
Yes,
So
we will.
we're very excited about this. We're getting together a schedule of her first couple of days to get her oriented into the town, and trying to organize the office because it's just been, a little chaotic lately. So, so we're getting very excited.
Good, you should be.
That's awesome. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
You and Diana really have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything under active subdivisions? No.
No.
What about, didn't Chris ask us to rethink the entrance to Lawson Farms?
That's down here. on
That's
the
now in
agenda.
action items, yes.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Minutes?
Have you reviewed them?
Diana didn't get a chance to do them before she
Okay,
left
good.
on
I didn't think so.
vacation. So,
Is she going somewhere good?
Cape May.
Oh, that's right, I forgot, she told me that. All right, well,
So you have in your packet, the memo from Chris Gallagher, asking about doing a modification to the entrance of Lawson Farm. I also included a snapshot of the sketch of the entrance showing the islands.
Yep.
Plans.
Hello.
Good evening, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Thanks for being here.
I'm actually gonna, Lance kind of handle this. If we want, I can share my screen and we can just look at the, kind of the sketch up on the screen.
That'd be good.
And kind of talk through the reasoning behind why this was proposed and brought up.
All right. So, hello everyone. Good to see you again.
You too.
So, as you can see here in the plan, Lawson Farm, there's a proposed center island here, similar to what was done down at, what's that?
London Estates.
Offalet Way, which was, London Estates. The issue with that we've seen now that we've had, one subdivision constructed is that, during drop-offs and pickups with the school children there, especially in poor weather, the parents want to go out there and make sure their kids get safely on the bus, so they drive down to the end of the subdivision, and then it blocks an entire lane, which forces cars to drive into oncoming traffic. Likewise, if a vehicle were to break down, same situation. So, I mean, it's nothing against the sort of aesthetic design and nature of the proposal. It's just that, I'd hate to see the same, problem occur on another subdivision that we're currently constructing. We have an opportunity here to avoid that same issue.
Actually, a bad intersection.
Yeah, so it's, cars move fast, through there coming off the, off Route 1. Just something I wanted to, I felt like it was, Chris and I talked about it, felt like it was, worth bringing to the board, just, to bring up the issue as we're observing it. Now there's a possibility to fix it.
Can I just ask, obviously now, these residents are from the early phases, closer to Old Main Street. Will the whole build-out be going to bringing their kids down to that one bus stop?
My assumption is that there'll be one bus stop for that neighborhood. They'll all have to come out to the end of the street. Yeah.
It's my understanding, yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
This subdivision is a little easier to remove those islands because there's nothing within the islands. In London Estates, there was stormwater management structures there, so that's more difficult. But this one is just there. There's nothing else in it.
It's purely aesthetics at this point.
Yeah.
So
That's
from curb to curb, excluding the island layout, what's that width?
So it's, currently proposed here is, 12-foot lanes and a 6-foot island. So roughly, if you were to move the island, now you have a 30-foot paved area, which is wide.
Yeah.
Which, potentially there is some curbing has been installed, I think, closer to the the new intersection.
Both
But
sides?
Yes, I think on both sides down at the end. But towards Main Street, it hasn't been installed yet. So theoretically, closer to Main Street than that intersection, there may be a possibility to adjust that curb line and tighten it up a little bit.
If we don't need to build infrastructure, if it's,
Right.
would be a recommendation,
I mean,
I'd be
it's,
open to that.
yeah, it'd be great to narrow it up a little bit if we can. If we can't, it's not the end of the world. It's still, we're still not installing that center island infrastructure is going to save the town a lot of money in the long term because, that's the kind of thing that a plow is going to basically destroy too. So, you have this narrow island and curbing, especially granite curbing, is not cheap. So it's a long-term savings to the taxpayers there, but that's not really the real issue.
We know about the granite curbing there.
Yeah.
I have no problem with it. Is the developer aware?
So I've talked to Frank Bonvy, but it looks like, I didn't get their, blessing, I guess. It was sort of just bringing it up to the board at this time. But, my conversations with, the developer, Frank at least at the time, was he wasn't necessarily opposed to it. He was kind of he's like, this is how it was approved. We're going to build what was approved. Unless the board wants to change that, it's kind of up to them. So, but if Ron's on the line, I don't mean to speak for them either. So
It saves them a considerable amount of money.
I would think so, yeah.
And what is it that we would need to make that change?
You'll need to make a motion to modify the subdivision plan.
Do we need a public hearing for that?
No, it's a minor modification, so, we posted it. I did speak to Bill Buckley, the engineer, today, and he said that, they're fine with doing any changes that are necessary. So,
Do you want a motion?
Sure.
I make a motion to approve the site plan modifications of the construction act, wrong one, to remove the entrance islands at Lawson Farm.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
thank you.
Just for conversation, is it the Public Works recommendation that we steer clear of this kind of design going forward, if it ever comes up again?
They certainly cause maintenance issues. We can see on Beach Street the issues we're having down there with those trees getting knocked over. Having those trees in that center island does become, a maintenance issue, an ongoing issue.
But you always see the site plans.
Snow removal.
Anyways, for development. You
Yeah.
always see those in
We do,
advance. so
yeah.
you can
And
highlight that.
we've had comments when, 240 Street came through the first time through. That was some of the comments that I had back in 2014, 15, was those center islands
And we've
being
also
maintenance
had
issues.
conversations before about, circular islands at the end of cul-de-sacs, where buses have a problem trying to get around them to pick up children, so
Yeah.
I think we're learning to avoid some of these issues going forward.
Just my personal opinion, I would definitely, I would avoid them on smaller subdivisions like this. I've seen center islands on sort of larger roadways where they just come out. It's a beautiful asset to the community. Certain areas like East Providence, there's this one community where it's 2-lane roads on both sides, so north and south. And then in the center, there's this very wide median with a beautiful walkway down the center of it. Something like that. That's great.
Even Autumn Estate seems to work very well.
But you're dealing with a small subdivision, just a small strip between it. It's really just becoming a hazard more than a help. At least on those 2-lane roads, someone breaks down, you can go around them and continue on your way. So this is just on these 1 lanes, it's not really worth it.
And, something like this design had openings at each of these driveways. So, then that becomes a maintenance issue during the winter where it's a 20-foot stretch that's open that we've got to get a plow truck through somehow.
Yeah.
So that those residents can get out of the driveway, through that that gap. So,
Got your request just in time.
Really?
Yeah, and I've received calls from residents at London Estates that want to, get rid of those islands, so, the residents don't like them either, so,
The ones that are already installed.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. That cannot be removed.
Yeah.
So your proposal then is to remove all of them, even the ones that are already installed, have them removed.
We're not talking about removing those at this time.
no, I think the,
It's the one at the
Just at the
entrances.
beginning.
Just the initial first one there?
No, I mean,
it's-
all of them at Lawson
here.
Farm before they're installed. So yes, remove all of that, but not talking about London Estates
No.
and going
Oh, no,
back and
no, no.
retroactively
Yeah.
removing
But
that.
really,
so.
that's the same issue, because they
It is
must
the
all
same
have
issue.
to come out to the
And that's
Main
what-
Street as
Th-
well.
Yeah, that's what prompted this discussion.
Yeah.
You know, going past the street during pickups
Oh, it's
and drop-offs, there's
Yeah,
just,
see 'em parked out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
like,
and
you know, your
it's
kids are
a,
not
it's a
gonna
dangerous
freeze or
situation.
melt.
So Lance and I spoke about it,
Right.
agreed that this is something that should not, we should consider not using it again.
Right, right. Are they getting mail delivery up at Lawson Farms?
They have a central mailbox.
Oh, they got central.
It's Sunday, yeah. So that's another
Yeah, great.
another
out of our
subdivision
control.
issue, but.
Yeah.
That one's out of our control.
All right, what's next?
Site plan, sometime past 7:05 PM, we have a site plan modification, 25 Pumping Station Road.
For the modification of the construction access to the PFAS treatment facility.
Yes. Since you're here.
All right, so, you know, after the last meeting that Lance and Brian were at, you know, Lance attended a site walk with Tracy. I'm not sure if any of the other board members were there, but along with some of the residents in that area at the end of Pumping Station Road. And, you know, came to the conclusion that what we already knew, it's not the best entrance for large vehicles.
It's tough.
You know, we do have two other options available to us that we wanted to bring forward. The access off of Mechanic Street, which is near number 156, 154, 156, is a paved access road. It's gated right now. I can zoom in over there. That does provide us access to the backside of the site. Historically, that was the main access to what is well 13. Prior to the existing treatment plant being built and constructed in 2020, when we completed that, that was the only access point for that well. So chemical deliveries, any construction that went on at that well, that roadway was being used as access to that property. When we built the existing treatment plant, we did cut a road in from Pumping Station Road through to that well site, which, you know, provides interior access, but for another project like this that we were not anticipating, provides an alternate route to get onto the property without having to go through some of the headaches that we did previously on the intersection of Pumping Station Road and Chestnut Street. So we wanted to come back, highlight that entrance off of Mechanic Street, and also we do have one further down through an easement that's a little bit closer to Villa Drive. It's not paved all the way through. It is gated off. That's where the septic field is for the property. You know, and just kind of highlight all three access points as potential access in and out. Ideally, the one between 154 and 156 Mechanic Street would be the primary in and out. It resolves not only the issues of turning onto Pumping Station Road, but also the issues of just turning onto Chestnut Street from Mechanic. You know, any larger vehicles have to get in that left turn lane to make a right turn onto Chestnut Street. So, you know, it really does help us out in that process. Lance, again, looked at it a little bit closer. This is the entrance between 154 and 156, so
I think it's 152, actually.
152, okay.
Yeah.
And 156, yeah.
So that's not your preferred one, it's the other one.
This would be the this is to be the preferable. It's the closest one to 95.
Yep.
So any vehicles coming off of 95, this is their first access point.
Perfect.
They don't have to try to turn onto Chestnut Street. This is the other
Right.
access through the easement that we have. Again, it's not paved all the way out to Mechanic Street. It's going to be a little bit of a rough ride, but potentially we may use this as an out, as an exit somewhere along the lines. So, and then again, this is the site, the corner on Pumping Station Road.
Yeah.
That utility pole there, it's too narrow.
Yep.
So we had done our best 6 years ago when we were building the plant to have them come in from the public safety side to make that turn, and
Didn't work so well.
doesn't work. Truck drivers follow the GPS and get there the
Exactly,
fastest way they can.
Yeah.
So do we have the authority to mandate that all construction vehicles go in one of these two ways?
Probably not.
Is that the selectman for
Could
roadway?
be. And I'm sure that can be resolved in different ways, handled
Yeah.
in different ways. It can really be handled
Yeah,
by
I
you
think-
guys for the most part.
I'm not sure that, we can legally keep legal street vehicles off of legal streets, but I think it's, as part of the, project, we can designate, I think I called it parcel 017's access way as the primary access way for, construction delivery vehicles and that kind of thing. So we can do our best, if something, God forbid, a truck tips over, if there's a block of some kind and we have to use another site, we'll have to use
Maybe
another
we can put a
access way.
sign at the top of pumping station, no construction.
Right.
Maybe it's premature, but do you have any sense of, beyond like bringing in excavators or, I'm talking about big, heavy stuff, is there any equipment that's gonna be in this plant that's coming in assembled off-site, that's gonna be big?
So we will have the tanks themselves, the filter vessels, which are 12 feet in diameter and 20 feet tall. So those will be coming in. Then there's 4 of those that need to come in and go into the building once it's constructed. The steel for the building itself will be coming in. But the vessels, those filter tanks are the largest things that are going
You
to
don't
come
build a
in.
building around them, huh?
It's going to be close. We're pretty much, there's a hatch in the ceiling that's going to get opened up and they're going to get lowered in through the crane
That's a good answer.
and then manipulated inside the building.
Yeah, okay. And I'm just curious, just because it's been some, was it been 25 years since that road was put in off Mechanic Street? Something like that. I don't know, because it's not open to
Yeah.
traffic. Has it grown in? Do you have clearance? Do you need to take?
I actually
limbs
drove
down?
through it the other day. Besides some branches and leaves being on the ground, it's still the same paved surface that it was, when we stopped using it 4 years ago. This left-hand turn up here, is actually wider than I remembered it being. So there's actually some pretty good turning radius to get those larger trucks in there without having to do any additional clearing.
That's great.
Yeah, makes
And the
sense.
driveway is the driveway wide enough that you don't need to expand it?
Yeah, it's wide enough that it can handle any of the construction vehicles, tractor trailers that'll come through there.
Yeah. At least one way direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just so there's no misunderstandings for anyone else here, that Chestnut Street will still be used maybe for workers or personnel or something? Just, I don't want to
Yeah.
give the impression that
It'll never-
nothing.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's why we're, back tonight was to, make it clear that we have alternatives to that pumping station road exit,
Yep.
entrance and exit for primary access for construction vehicles, but it's still gonna be a daily use road, not only for existing staff, but, potentially any of the workers that are coming through that way as well.
At least it'll push the bulk of the large vehicular traffic, off of Chestnut,
And that road, like I said, did have, tanker trucks going down delivering chlorine and other chemicals to that,
Right.
to that well site. So it has been used historically for that, just has a 4-year history now.
Any of the people in the audience here for this?
Motion.
I think so.
You do?
Anybody in the audience who want to speak to this?
We're going to do what you have asked us to do.
to them, or no, that was our main concern, and I have to admit that I thought of it afterwards.
I'm sorry, you need to go to the microphone.
Another concern I had was the fire department and the police department. I can't count how many times they're up and down the street. And if you saw that flash video that I left, where the guy got hung up on the telephone pole, then tried to get off of that and got hung up on the pine tree, and then ended up backing over Julie's yard to get off of both of them. He had Pumping Station Road blocked off and all of Chestnut Street blocked off.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they supposed to do? Go all the way uptown, go around the Rotary to get down Mechanic Street if any of this should happen again?
No, they're going to do this
We're going to
now.
avoid it.
Okay.
So I think we're all very glad that you raised this issue because, it brought out a better outcome.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it was just like, I was looking at Julie going, okay, they're over here. Oops, nope, they're over there.
Yeah.
Do you want a motion?
Please.
Make a motion Make a motion
You need
to
Close.
close the public hearing.
That's right. We still got the hearing open.
Thank you.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the modification of the construction access to the PFAS treatment facility at 25 Pumping Station Road.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Very much
welcome.
appreciated.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's needed, thank you.
Thank you for my pothole fix.
Occasionally we can make everybody happy. Not often.
Not often. We're done.
So we have to wait until 7:30 for, to continue the public hearing for Pine Air Estates. So maybe we can do a recess so that the board can sign the plans and then come back.
Thank you, Lance.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Much
Have a good evening.
appreciated.
See you.
So I'd make a motion, the board go into recess until 7:30.
Second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
To the May 23rd Foxborough Planning Board meeting. As mentioned earlier, the meeting will be broadcast live and recorded by Foxborough Cable Access, and there may be individuals who come in on Zoom or some other type of internet connection. We have a continued public hearing, special permit definitive subdivision for 204 East Street, construction of proposed 12-lot subdivision, Pine Air LLC.
Mr. Buckley requested a continuance because they're still dealing with conservation. They're trying to close all the orders of conditions that were in the property. And one of the items is that they need a visit, the site visit from DEP. So that's happening this week. So they expect to have everything tied up by the next conservation meeting, which will be prior to our June 13th meeting.
Okay. So just for clarification, these are the prior orders?
Yes.
So the commission has not issued a current order yet, or have they?
No, they have not. The acting agent said that he felt that it would be important to close all the other orders of condition before issuing a new one. So trying to button up everything. So that's the reason why it hasn't happened. But, so we would recommend that you continue to June 13th and give the Conservation Commission time to do their work.
I make a motion to continue the public hearing, special permit definitive subdivision 204 East Street, construction of a proposed 12-lot subdivision, Pine Air LLC, to June 13th at
7:15?
7:15.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I think that concludes our business, yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.